Hello and welcome to Swipe. Coming up, holiday hyperbole, our online reviews spoiling the spirit of adventure. Internet Matters, we take a look at the new organisation designed to help parents monitor what kids see online. Robo-catcher, the four-fingered robot that has lightning speed reactions. And next-gen goat simulation in this week's Games Review. Book anything online these days and you'll usually find a wealth of user feedback close by, from star ratings to comment boxes, even forum discussions. But according to a new study, we're less inclined to trust the rave reviews we read. So given that many of us are booking our holidays online at the moment, Katie Spencer slapped on some Factor 50 to work out if what we read should be shaping where we go.
Cool, isn't it? Look at me underwater.
For many travellers, when we plan our holidays, user-generated online reviews have become the go-to source for information.
This is not funny.
But how far can we trust a 5-star rating? The British Hospitality Association says it's in talks with TripAdvisor, one of the world's largest travel sites, over claims holidaymakers are holding their members to ransom, demanding upgrades in exchange for not writing bad reviews. So can we really believe everything we read?
We are seeing increasing numbers of malicious reviews being posted either by members of the public or maybe by competitors of the hotel or restaurant concerned, and that can be incredibly damaging. Now, of course, if you're not providing an up-to-scratch service, then you deserve the bad reviews that you get. People rely on these websites so much that, they see these reviews. It can actually have a very direct impact on our company's business.
However, a new study in the Journal of Consumer Research has found that negative reviews aren't always bad for business. Its research showed we're more likely to trust people's experiences if we believe it's written in an honest way and take a leap of faith when it comes to booking. It also found we've become more switched on when it comes to looking at reviews and spotting fakes, something which can be seen in TripAdvisor's figures. With more than 150 million reviews on its site, savvy holidaymakers apparently spend 45% more time looking at hotels which have more than 50 reviews. Over half of us wouldn't make a booking if we don't see any reviews. So sorting the fact from fiction is a priority. In recent years, it's introduced sophisticated tracking systems to look at the electronic attributes of each review, as well as taking on fraud experts to investigate anything which is flagged up.
The benefit of a site like ours is that you get the wisdom of the crowd. It's a little bit like the principle in polling. Pollsters know that the more people that they ask a question to, the bigger the sample size, the more accurate the result. And the same is true of online reviews. The more reviews you read, the more accurate a picture you'll build up.
There's no doubt travel reviews have become an essential reference tool, but are they killing our spirit of adventure?
What it certainly does is removes the spontaneity, and as a traveller what I like is to be the explorer, have the discovery and the adventure.
The things that get my attention is more the negative, interesting things that you wouldn't see on the hotel's website.
Sometimes you'll see a bad review and then the restaurant will put a comment saying, oh, we're fixing this right now. So I thought that was interesting because I think it keeps people more accountable.
Of course, nobody wants to be caught out when booking that perfect getaway.
Oh, this is like the birds, but with ducks.
And when it comes to writing online reviews, sharing the experience can be half the fun. Katie Spencer, Sky News.
You're watching Swipe. Coming up, Twitter hits the mute button. But first, how about living in a world where you never have to hunt around for a phone charger, or one in which you can print out your own robot helper? Well, the technology is on its way. Intel hosted its Innovation Future Showcase this week, so we asked Matt Steele to check it out.
It's an insight into the technology of tomorrow. For just a few days in London, Intel set up a temporary home to introduce people to some of the advances its engineers believe could be heading our way soon. Built-in 3D cameras could help our computers to see in the same way we do. And when our devices can view things in greater depths, it could lead to big improvements, especially when it comes to things like gaming and gesture control. If our computers can see objects in 3D, that information could then easily be stored, passed on to a friend, and printed out somewhere else using a 3D printer.
You're giving your computer 4 new fundamental ways to understand inputs when you're using applications. Your hands for things like gesture, your face so it can understand your emotions, speech so that you can speak to it like you speak to another human, and the environment around it so that it can gain contextual awareness.
Get fed up hunting for a charger? Well, this isn't a fruit bowl, it's a smart bowl. You just pop your devices inside to charge everything wirelessly.
You can just place your devices directly into the charging bowl and they start charging. So with that, we've provided users kind of a very elegant, seamless way to charge their devices without having to manage multiple cables.
Then there's Jimmy the robot. First revealed at the Maker Fair in New York last year, it's the idea that eventually we could all print our own robots. The open source files have already been shared with a number of unis to enable them to create and print their own Jimmys on a 3D printer. People are invited to invent and share ways to improve him. Then different apps could be downloaded to improve what he can do.
Envision this robot becoming part of you, part of your life, just like technology has. You know, like your cell phone. Like you can configure your cell phone today. Imagine having a robot that you can do that with. You know, 3D printing has really evolved to be cost effective and definitely more accurate to realize those dreams.
Intel insists some of the prototypes could be here as early as the end of this year. It might be slightly longer before Jimmy makes his way into most of our homes. But as processors become smaller and more powerful, the possibilities are becoming seemingly endless. Matt Steele, Sky News.
You're watching Swipe. Coming up, the four-fingered robot that could beat you in a game of catch. But first, if you're a parent, working out what your child's looking at online can be a bit of a worry. But a new not-for-profit organisation which launched this week in the UK is hoping to set the bar when it comes to internet safety. Tom Platt has the story.
With a whole generation of children on the web in a way their parents never experienced or necessarily understand, a new initiative is helping to protect kids online. Internet Matters, launched by the UK's 4 major broadband providers, is helping parents safely navigate the internet with their children. Sky, BT, Virgin Media and TalkTalk are teaming up to protect kids online, with big names backing the campaign.
One of the things that was so exciting about it when I first discovered using the internet is that the boundaries were so broad and you could look up so many things and it's all in one place. But obviously for my kids I want to make sure that it's all age appropriate and they're not going to be confused or upset by what they're seeing.
The project is meant to be a hub for information, directing parents to help and advice from specialist organisations and charities. It's also designed to put pressure on the tech industry to make a child-friendly internet more effective, with parents and policymakers working together.
The internet's an absolutely fantastic place for our children. They can be hugely creative, it can be educational, but as it becomes more and more commonplace in their lives, they can be exposed to things that we don't want them to see, like inappropriate content. And that's why it's important that we help our parents keep their children safe online.
With a report showing that 55% of parents are not monitoring their child's internet usage and over half not using parental controls, the initiative will come as welcome news to safety campaigners, but may take more time to change old habits. Tom Platt, Sky News.
You're watching Swipe. Coming up, we check out the next-gen goat simulation. And no, it's not a joke. But first, here's anything you might have missed over the past few days. Are there some tweets you'd rather avoid without having to block the tweeter? Well, it's now possible. Twitter's turned on a mute feature, allowing you to turn off certain tweets so they won't show up in a timeline. The new tool appears to be what the social media giant was aiming for when it changed its blocking policy in December, igniting a firestorm of controversy. And while we're on the subject of birds, Don Nguyen, the creator of Flappy Bird, the game which snowballed into a massive hit earlier this year, has announced he'll be bringing it back in August. Despite tweeting in February that he couldn't take the attention anymore, he's told a news channel in America he's making a modified version. Xbox One owners have been getting het up this week after Microsoft announced plans to strip out the console's Connect feature and slash prices. Sales of the device have been flagging in comparison to the PS4, but some fans are concerned it means Microsoft will have less incentive to make use of the motion sensor, which they've forked out extra for. England goalie Joe Hart better watch out. Check out the lightning speed reactions of this four-fingered robot. Researchers at the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology reckon it's one of the fastest in the world and could eventually be used to collect space debris. The inventor of the bagless vacuum cleaner and the bladeless fan wants Britain to do more to retain its engineering talent. James Dyson has announced plans to invest £250,000 in expanding his company in Wiltshire. He'll create 3,000 new jobs, but also wants the UK to do more to encourage overseas students who are learning in the UK to stay where they're studying.
Nearly 90% of our researchers at British universities in engineering and science come from overseas, and we ought to make them more welcome. Indeed, nearly half the undergraduates studying science and engineering are also from outside the EU. So I think if we made them welcome from the very beginning and said that, you know, when you qualify, you can stay in Britain and help Britain create interesting products that we can export, rather than disencouraging them, they go home and then they become competitors to us. I mean, this is sheer madness.
Google's announced an update to its map service. The company says it'll enable a more intelligent guide for those using public transport, with access to the time and route of every train, bus, tram and ferry in the UK. And finally, it turns out the author of Game of Thrones has been writing the fantasy drama on a computer that would be more at home in the Seven Kingdoms. In a TV interview in the States, George R.R. Martin, the man behind the books on which the TV series is based, confessed his secret weapon was an old DOS computer. It is to prevent viral attacks and also so he doesn't have to worry about autocorrect constantly changing what he writes. No confirmation, though, if he does it all sat at his own mini Iron Throne, although I would. Mario Kart 8 may bring anti-gravity to the world of racing, but will it save the Wii U? Games' Ross Thompson reviews the highly anticipated Nintendo offering, along with some other new and upcoming releases.
First up, there's Wolfenstein. So you could probably say that this is the creator of first-person shooters, this franchise, but you've got Wolfenstein: The New Order, which is coming out on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PS3, Xbox 360 and PC. And this takes you to a world where the Nazis have won World War II. And you're in the 1960s, and it's your aim to basically go and take back Europe and take back the world from the Germans, who literally have overrun everything and changed the way that they may have changed the world if they had won World War II. There's a great storyline to this. It looks amazing, so graphically fantastic. So yeah, great first-person shooter, looks amazing, obviously on current gen and next generation and PC, so highly recommended. Next up is Goat Simulator. Now, Goat Simulator was originally released as a PC download title only, and it basically took people by storm. It was only really made by a very small studio. No one really expected anything from it, but then suddenly this whole phenomenon happened around social media and YouTube, and everybody got behind it. So someone's now signed up the rights to basically release it as a boxed version with a disc. So this is coming out as well. And the game itself is just crazy. You are a goat. You are running around, and the idea of the game is just to destroy absolutely everything, but try and destroy it in style. So you can imagine trying to jump out of a window as a goat, doing a backflip, but hitting a frying pan at the same time, and then landing on a barbecue, which then sets the house on fire or the garden on fire. And the more points you get, the better you are. And then you can literally, people are uploading all these different videos, so it's going to be a huge success again. You then have Mario Kart 8, which is coming to Wii U. Nintendo really need this. The Wii U's not had the best of years since its launch. And Mario Kart 8 is that major franchise that's really going to deliver for that console. It's got all your favourites back in there from previous Mario Karts, but there's also some new special editions they've added into this. So one of the key things is they've got anti-gravity karts now. So that means not only are you going to just be racing as normal on a standard road, but you're also going to be racing on walls, on ceilings, and it just completely changes the perspective of this game. It looks stunning in HD. It's the first time Mario Kart's been in HD. And all in all, 12-player online multiplayer as well. This has got success written all over it, and it's really what Nintendo need to start making the Wii U a real want for people again, and Mario Kart is definitely that game to do so. Watch Dogs is an IP that was announced about 2 years ago at E3, and people have been talking about it ever since. So now, finally, they're going to be able to get their hands on it. It's set in a near-future Chicago, and it's all about technology. You play a gentleman called Aidan Pierce, who was a thug in his previous life, but he turned into a hacker. And it's all around being able to utilise technology to control absolutely everything in Chicago and go after these guys that basically ruined your life, even though you're a thug in the first place. You can control traffic lights, which means if you're in a car chase, you can be being chased by 20, 30 cars, but change all the traffic lights to cause a massive pile-up. they will then crash. Obviously, you can get away. You can turn lights off and basically just take down the whole blackout of the city. You can stop trains, you control CCTV cameras. So it's a really ingenious idea, and it looks like it's going to be the start of a massive franchise. So all in all, Watch Dogs is definitely one to watch out for.
Thanks, Ross. And that's it for this week. Remember, you can catch up with the breaking tech stories all week on Sky News for iPad, our smartphone app and skynews.com. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.